Welcome to The Founder. I'm your host Tasha Sejal, and as always, we are here at the Colombo Cooperative talking to you about the new startups and new businesses in Sri Lanka coming up and what's been happening all together. So today we have with us Gana from MillionSpaces. How are you today, Gana?
Doing good.
Awesome.
Thank you for having me.
No worries. So tell me about your company.
So MillionSpaces is basically an online platform where people can book venues for events, parties, conferences, or any activity that they want a space for. So we launched in December 2017, so it's almost a year and a month since we launched. So during these 2 years, like when we launched back in December 2017, the market there wasn't anyone in this market, let alone Sri Lanka, but even if you look at the global landscape, there were players in it, but most of them are directories where that spaces are listed saying, look, this space is suitable for these kind of activities, but you will not be able to book them instantly. So you send a request for a booking, they say whether it's available or not. It is not much better than calling them and asking whether it's available or not. So that might be faster. So when we launched, it was a bit of a new market that we were entering, especially in Sri Lanka. So what we do here is we onboard spaces which are underutilized and which has free capacity, and then we direct bookings for them from people like anyone who is looking for a venue. Let's say if we want to have a meeting and I don't have a meeting room, or if my meeting rooms in my office is like fully occupied, then I can look for a meeting room in the neighborhood and say, guys, let's go there and have the meeting, rather than walking into a coffee shop and getting with all the hassle and all the noise that comes in. So this makes your meetings more productive, makes your events much more cheaper to organize, because until we launched, people, if you want to have a party, you walk into a hotel or you walk into any commercial properties that are set up to host these events, where they charge you a lot. But now anyone's rooftop can be an event space. Any officers can leave their gardens as an event space. So any space that is bookable has become an event space with us. So it is much more cheaper, and with the platform it's much more convenient, because you look at them online, you can book them online, you can pay for them online. It happens all instantly. So that's what we do in this market space. So we looked at the Uber model, we look at the Airbnb model, and we said, okay, look, if there was a platform which does exactly what they were doing, but to book venues for events, that's what we are. So 2 years we have done quite a lot in that period. So Sri Lanka was supposed to be a test market for us, where we wanted to go. So from day one we were clear on one thing, that we wanted to be a global product, because that's where the real scope is. Then what happened was we launched in Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka actually became a bit of a success story for us over the last 2 years. We had 50,000 bookings in 2019. We had 1,000 plus venues on board, which makes us technically the largest event space platform in Asia right now, with the 1,000 venues that we have. And we've got the award as the second best, or the runners-up award as the most disruptive product in Sri Lanka in 2019.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. So it has been an amazing journey for us over the last couple of years. And now we are stepping into Singapore. So I will be leaving to Singapore tomorrow. We have already been there for last couple of months. So we are launching MillionSpaces in Singapore, and that's going to be the market for 2020 first half. Second half, most probably it's going to be Malaysia as well. We are looking at Hong Kong. So we are looking at regional expansion for next couple of years, where Asia will be our space of growth. Then we will move into Europe, then the US, and become the global product. Most likely by 2025, we will be a global brand name which is used across the world, just like an Airbnb or an Uber. If you want to book a space, you come on MillionSpaces, instantly you book it, and you have it available for you.
You've already set out quite a lot within the past few years, and I have to ask you, before it all came into being as a product, right? What really inspired you to open up MillionSpaces? Right.
So it is a bit of a different story over here. So what happened was, I was there in this startup weekend by Google.
Okay.
That was somewhere around November 2017. So I was I just walked in. I wanted to like mingle with the ecosystem because I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I wanted to be in the startup ecosystem for the rest of my life. So I was like, I just walked in. I want to network. I want to get to know people in the ecosystem and stuff. And so that is about you connecting with 3-4 other entrepreneurs or like-minded individuals, and then you pitch an idea that you come up on that particular day. So we were pitching this idea, and one of the judges there was Shahani Marcus, who runs Emojot. So Shahani, after the pitching event, we were networking, and then I spoke to Shahani, and she was like, look, there are a couple of ideas I want to work on, and I would like to work with you on that. If you are interested, let's meet and discuss further. So then I met her partner Prasad, who runs Oxenta, and then I met him on a Friday. Then when I met Prasad, Prasad was like, we had this idea for a product, which is a market space, where you can book venues for meetings and anything of similar occasion. So I was like, okay, it sounds interesting, but I did not have any knowledge in that domain at that point of time. So I said, let me do my homework and come and meet you on Monday, and if things are interesting, I'll definitely come on board, because I wanted to do something, and these two individuals are very well experienced as entrepreneurs. They have industry expertise, and they have done a couple of startups on their own, so it makes a lot of sense for me to work with them. So then what happened was the Friday night, Saturday, Sunday, I pretty much did not sleep. I was researching as much as I can. I was on my laptop the whole time. I was looking at, because it was surprising to me to see that there is none of the other global entities were doing this already, because it was an obvious idea. It is something that you would expect the world to already have it. So it's 2017. Uber has matured so much, Airbnb has matured so much, and you have these market spaces so matured in the global landscape. So I was surprised to see there were no platforms which were offering instant booking at that time. There were directory sites, of course, but there weren't instant booking enabled platforms. So then I came up with the business plan, came up with the business model, how we make our money, looked at Airbnb's business model and learned from them, benchmarked them, came up with the growth plan. Looking back, the first country that I wanted to expand back 2 years ago was Singapore, and that's what we're actually doing right now. And the plan actually had, so every 6 months we are in a new geography, so most probably we are on track with what we envisioned 2 years ago. So I came with the growth plan, came with the financials, numbers and stuff. So I went and met Prasad on Monday morning, and the rest of, then we decided to work together, and then everything else happened. They are all yet to be a history, to be honest.
But it's a good story. It's a good story, and at the same time, you put all your vision into this, and it's basically your baby now. How did MillionSpaces, the name, come about?
Okay, again, interesting story. So when I joined, or when I spoke to Shahani and Prasad, the name that was there was MillionSpaces. It made much more sense, because when you say MillionSpaces, it's very obvious. Then you know the story. You go on GoDaddy, you search for domain, it's not available, because MillionSpaces are a very common two terminologies. So then we actually spoke to this. Back then he was the chief product officer of Shutterfly. Ishanta Lokuge, who is a Sri Lankan, and he is a friend of Prasad Nanekar. So we were in touch with him. He was advising us on the product. So Ishanta came with his name called MillionSpaces, and you were like, okay, it sounds good, because we start from nothing and we will grow to be a company which will have million spaces on our platform. So even when we hit 1,000 spaces, we ran a campaign where you write million, 1000000. We highlight the first 000, so you have 1,000 there, and we put the remaining 3 zeros in low opacity. So that's where the future is about. So I strongly believe 5 years down the line, we will definitely we will live up to the brand name. I'm sure the company will grow much more than a million space in the future, because this is basically anyone and everyone who has extra space. It can be your own house, it can be a extra meeting room in your office, it can be a extra rooftop which you don't use. Anything can be on the platform, so anyone can make an extra dollar without risking too much of anything. So that's what our future is going to be, and that's how the name came about.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. It's so interesting at the same time because you have so much going on. You already have your 1,000 spaces, like you said. Was obviously one thing that you would think about is finances. Was financing any difficult for you initially?
It was. So any startup, especially when you look at startups in Sri Lanka, one of the biggest hurdles is finance. How you fund the company and how you fund the growth. And us being in this space where it's an e-commerce platform, we had to do a lot of education to the public, saying, look, you have to move away from calling the spaces and asking whether it's available, to walking into the venues and asking, guys, this is my purpose, this is my event, this is my requirement, and then you look at the space, which takes so much of your time. You drive around the city, you end up in a hotel room or paying the price. So like we had to educate the people, look, all of these can be done so easily by coming online. We have all the information for you, from the pictures to the details to every single detail that you look for when you're booking a space. And just a couple of buttons, we'll ensure the space is booked for you. So it's a lot of education. Second thing is, it's a brand that you had to build, because in an e-commerce platform, but the reality is, unless your brand is known, people don't feel comfortable to put their credit cards in and make a transaction.
Yeah, exactly, because it's always risky, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So especially like taking Sri Lanka again, we have very low rate of credit card penetration. So usage of credit cards is very low. So we had to again convince people to do the transactions on MillionSpaces platform and give them the trust, saying that, look, our platform is safe and secure to do the transactions. So all these activities of education took us, it required a lot of investment in terms of marketing than a typical other startup which would not be in the e-commerce space. So the demand for investment was hefty. It was required on a frequent intervals. So that's where the experienced partners comes into the picture. So Prasad was an alumni of MIT and INSEAD, so he has a lot of contacts. So his contacts are global. He has studied in Singapore, he has studied in France, he has studied in USA, so he has done business in USA. So he has so many contacts that he brings into the picture. So it was friends and families in the first round, second round, and couple of rounds that we ran. So right now we are still in the friends and families and contacts round, which has been successful for us. But yeah, like in the mid to long run, we might have to look for venture capitalists to come on board and then go for VC rounds in the future as well. But with Singapore coming in, the story will be much more attractive for us to get the funds in. So I think it should be all good.
Yeah, and what's really a challenge that you had to face initially in the beginning? Was it hard? Have you ever like failed at certain things, at tasks, before you succeeded?
Right. See, the biggest challenge was, as I told, is educating the people, and telling that, look, it's a behavioral change that we advocate. We wanted people to do things differently. It's the same pain Pygmy would have faced when they wanted people to move from stopping the tuk-tuk from the road to take their mobile phone and book it online. So it's a similar pain that we had to go through. It's a challenge. Educating people on a different behavior is very hard, and making them to change their learned behavior over so many decades is a hard process. So that was one of the biggest challenges. Second thing was, again, online transaction. It wasn't easy.
Yeah.
So here we do not, like as a society, we are not so comfortable in doing a transaction online. We always like to do a cash, like a face-to-face transaction when it comes to cash, especially when the transaction value is high. You are not comfortable doing a transaction online typically. So that was another challenge, to give that trust to the people, saying, look, it's secure for you to do this. Then also, like as a platform, see, we were in multiple markets. So we had venues for meetings, for conferences, for workspaces, for parties, for sports. So in the early stages, what we had to do was experiment each of these categories and understand which category is our beachhead, because unless we try each of these categories, we wouldn't know which is going to be the category for us to hold on to. So we took different categories at different point of time over the last 2 years, and we experimented. We ran different campaigns, we tried different marketing tactics, and we experimented which one is going to be lucrative for in terms of return for the dollars that we put in.
Okay.
So figuring that out was a timely process, and it also was an expensive process.
Right.
But I think right now the growth is almost, so the second half of 2019 we were almost actually throughout 2019 we were almost doubling our bookings month on month,
Right.
until the latter stage where we were growing 20 to 30% every month. So the growth right now is kind of on a smooth phase, because we kind of have figured out what will work for us in Sri Lanka. Probably the learning is going to be totally different in Singapore, because each market is different,
Exactly.
and how
Yeah.
the customers react is different. I think that's what is going to keep us also excited about this product, because it's not business as usual on any given day for us. It's
Okay.
every day brings us new challenges, every market brings us new challenges, so it's interesting.
And I really like the way you've pretty much convenienced everything. Everything is so simple. Now,
Right.
supposedly, I want to book a workspace.
Right.
Can you take me through the process? How can I get
Sure.
myself a place to work?
You come online, you go to MillionSpaces.com,
Okay.
which is online. Then you say, look, there's a search filter. Let's say you know a workspace. You can say Colombo Cooperative is my workspace, or
Right.
you can search by the
Okay.
name. But if you don't have an idea what kind of workspaces are here, then you can say there's a category for work. You
Okay.
click on that category, then all the possible workspaces come up. So then different packages will show you, okay, look, Colombo Cooperative has a hot desk, dedicated suite, or a private office.
Okay.
Let's say you want a private office for 2 people. You click on the private office for 2 people, that's a profile. It includes all the details, all the pictures, the space profile in terms of a description, what time to what time they are open, how much do they charge, what's their location, what are the facilities they provide, what are their house rules, what are the do's and don'ts, everything about Colombo Cooperative, which a community manager at this space would tell you.
Right.
So everything is there. You like the space, then you go, there's a booking platform on the site. So you choose the period, from what period to what period you want to book
Okay.
in for. You say for how many people, it's for 2. Then you click book now. If it is available, you just put in your credit card and book it.
Awesome.
So-
And it's also like for spaces that are conveniently close to you as well, right?
Of
If you
course,
want,
of
yeah.
course. See, this works quite well, especially when it comes to these the short-term requirements. Let's say if you have a meeting requirement and you had two meeting rooms in your office, but all of a sudden you require 1 more meeting room. There is nothing you can do. You're looking for an option. You say you can search by location. You can say I'm looking for a meeting room in Kolpiti. So all the meeting rooms that are around
Around
in
the
this
area.
vicinity will show you. It's real time. You know when you see it, it's available for you or not
Okay.
available for you. You book it and you walk into the meeting room. Then they will have it ready for you to use. So it's super convenient in terms of customer experience. In terms of what you want the space for and where you want the space for, we have that covered for the customers right now.
All right, Gana, I want to ask you, is this something that you've always wanted to do, this kind of business?
But see, is it entrepreneurship is what I always wanted to do? Yes.
Yeah.
So I think I have been doing different startups. I have been trying different ideas, probably from the age of 19.
Okay.
Probably
Wow.
18. I have the very first startup that I probably launched away, like from the idea stage to the launch stage, was probably in the age of 20. It was a online platform where it's a portal for resumes, where people come online and the companies can hire and stuff and all. But yeah, we launched it. It did not go right. Then we launched another product for online learning. We launched it went right, but then the partner's focus shifted. Then the company failed. So there were quite a few startups that I was involved from the age
okay,
of 19,
okay.
20. I did go into corporate sector in the early 20s, but I always knew deep within me that entrepreneurship is what I wanted to be in.
Okay.
So for me, the work day is not a work day. It's what I want to do with my life.
Right.
So it's very exciting to be doing what you want to do rather than doing something that you have to do because you have to do.
Exactly. That actually brings about my next question. Like, if it wasn't for MillionSpaces,
Right.
would there be anything else you would be pursuing?
Right. So very first corporate job that I was into was at Brandix, just across this road. At Rhineland Place, I was working in the corporate office. It was an amazing journey. I worked there for a year. But every single day I went to work, deep within me I knew, look, this is not what I am supposed to be doing, because I strongly believe that you don't work until the age of 50, and you retire at 50 to 60, and then you try to start living. By that time your life is already over. And if you're lucky enough to be alive after 50, yeah, you live something, but otherwise you're already done. So I always believe that you should retire early. So only way you can retire early is to do something on your own. So I did not believe in working for someone to make someone else rich. I want to work for myself from the very young days. That thought was deep within me every single day, even right now. Then at one point I gave my resignation. When I gave my resignation, I did not have any plans for the future, but I knew this is not what I want to do. But my career was good, the company was superb, it was a superb work environment and everything, but it wasn't something that I wanted to do for my future. So Mercedes was calling for applications around the world for their Future Compass project. So that is basically the project that they were doing back in 2016-17 for the autonomous vehicles, where the companies are working on, all the automobile companies right now working on, in terms of converting people from buying cars and owning cars to the subscription model, where, let's say, if you have a Mercedes in the 2025-2030 period, you will not own a vehicle, rather you have a mobile application, which gives you access, depending on the category of your subscription, access to the super luxury cars, to the luxury cars, to the sports vehicles of Mercedes, different categories. So let's say if you are a super luxury subscriber, you will get access to S-Class. So you order S-Class, it comes, it's automatic, it walks, it comes to your doorstep, it picks you up, it drops you where you want to, and then it goes back and parks itself. So that was a project that was in very early stages back in 2016-17. So Mercedes called for applications around the world. 23,000 odd applicants applied. 20 of them were selected. Luckily, I was one of them. So when I was part of the program, I was the youngest in all the 20 that was in the team.
Wow, that's amazing.
Then we got the chance to work with everyone, like the top tier of Mercedes, from the product development to marketing to innovation, R&D heads. Everyone was in working with us. So we basically brought in the random ideas in terms of brainstorming, like everything that we know about it, whereas they were the product experts. So it was an amazing, again, a good journey with the company that I had. Again, I had an option of pursuing further, but again, the sense of starting something on my own kicked in, so I came back to Sri Lanka. So when I came back, actually a couple of days after is when the startup weekend happened. That's where I met Shahani, and then the MillionSpaces story started. So that's the continuity of my corporate and the entrepreneurship career. So yeah, so I don't think there was something that I would have done if not for entrepreneurship, if not for doing something that is mine. So because see, I strongly believe, and I worship the idols of Steve Jobs. So that's where he said, if you really want to do something, you go out and make a dent in the universe and make sure that something is your own, so that you leave the marks in the history. And he was right, he really did that. So I'm sure everyone is equal in terms of smartness to the chance and all. It's just that how much you hustle to get there. And
yeah, that's amazing. And you know, Gana, just talking to you within these few minutes, I can already tell you're a person who's driven, you're very motivated, and you know, you have a vision and you go after it. What would you say is your definition of success coming into this year?
Right. See, for MillionSpaces, our definition of success will be where we will become a household brand name. Just like Airbnb, just like Uber, we will become a global brand name where everyone in the world, when you say MillionSpaces, it should be something that they know.
Yeah.
So that is what success is for MillionSpaces. Millions of users, millions of venues being booked. We help people to make extra dollars. We help people to save extra dollars because they are booking with MillionSpaces. They're not going to do these traditional expensive hotel solutions. So that's what our goal is. So 2025 is what the target is, to become a global player. I think we are everything on set right now as what the company is. It's a very steep journey from here. It's a lot of hard work probably from here, and we will require a lot of resources coming together and playing this bigger role with us. But yeah, so that's what success is for MillionSpaces. But personally for me, it's to leave an impact as an entrepreneur who has created a brand which has impacted, which has actually influenced a lot of people in the world. That's what success is for me in the long run.
All right. Well, it is definitely coming to that. And at the same time, there are so many people who don't have it together, just like you, who are still thinking about starting their own thing, but they're not really sure. There are so many doubts in their minds. And, what's the kind of advice that you can give to new startups out there who want to become their own brand, just like you?
See, to be honest, I do not believe in giving advices, because this is like someone who went to gym for a couple of months becomes all of a sudden the most knowledgeable person in terms of personal fitness. That's not the case, to be honest, because everyone's circumstances are different.
Yeah.
Everyone's startups are different. Everyone's mission and the vision that they have for themselves and the company is different. So I don't think there's a one proven success formula that I can project to another person or another startup that will make them successful or anything. So I don't believe even anything that has happened in the past is the success formula that I can use, but I can take few ingredients of that story and apply to myself. So I don't believe in advising, to be honest. So it's all about identifying what each one likes and what their bigger goal is, and making sure that anyone and everyone takes that risk to live that bigger goal of themselves, rather than being scared of taking a risk and living, working 9 to 5, working until the age of retirement, and then trying to see what they can do with their life. So that would be not too smart in the eyes of me. But anything else that they do will take them where they want to be, as long as you're honest to your work and as long as they are honest to the end goal that they are pursuing.
Well, there you have it. That was a wonderful interview, and if you want to know more about MillionSpaces, definitely look it up. Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
And it has been amazing. Thank you so much for being a part of the
Thank
founder.
you.